Welcome back, everybody, to episode 231 of Behind the ToolBelt. Today we have a couple great guests. Stay tuned. We will be back after our short intro from our sponsors.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. TC Backer.
Is your lead flow down? Whether you're a company owner, office staff, salesperson, or installer, you're a roofing rock star. We help you get more leads with custom SEO, Google Ads, and a pro website.
TC Backer.
Welcome back, everybody. What did you think of that last commercial there, Mike? That was bad,
That's
right?
fantastic. Yeah, for sure. Well, and I've been up on that roof with Tim Brown. That was his home when he spent 24 hours up there, and we were having cap gun wars up there, and I think we were racing cars, Matchbox cars. Yeah, we had a great fun.
I'm sure. Did you guys damage the shingles while you were up there?
We tried because he does have those 3-tab shingles, and they've been through a winter or two, and so we're really looking to see some manufacturer damage up there, so that next time there is a slight hail damage out there, it can get bought.
There you go. So a little vandalism was happening.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not hail, he should be able to get a claim through with vandalism. And if anybody sees me do this, like, I'm totally joking. I get in trouble most of the time. Most of the things that I say, because people don't know if I'm joking or lying. My wife just says if my lips are moving or saying something, just know that I'm lying.
Nah, I'll vouch for you, buddy. But I did see this video of a guy that was like smashing golf balls off a roof. I don't know what the hell it was, like TikTok a month or two ago. And I thought, wonder what type of impact, like, is that like the secret to go out and vandalize a roof with golf balls?
I've heard of it. I've heard it being done, but
I think they call it like spinning dimes, isn't it? Like dimes and quarters and nickels. So you have different kinds. I don't know. We should probably go through it entire. So, Building Experts Institute. We talked to you about spinning dimes and manufacturing damage.
That was actually our April Fool's joke, as we announced a course on manufacturing damage to roofs.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, is that something that you guys have done over there? Have you used golf balls, or is it you guys are just testing with ice balls?
It's all theory. It's all
theory. Okay.
Yeah, just with Matt Mulholland does do damage to shingles with the hail cannon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Well, let me introduce you guys. Matt Mahala, Maholland, who's actually missing in action today. We got my friend Matt Danskin and Michael Goldenstein. So, how the hell are you guys doing, and what are you guys doing today? What are you up to today? I know it's something crazy, so fill us into what the hell it is you guys are doing. I see a boom mic Mike back there.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't quite look like the OG boom mic that I'm familiar with from Denton, Texas, 2 years ago. And I think that's lights back there. So what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we flew Mike down from Minneapolis to Nashville here, and we are recording a really in-depth course on understanding building code for asphalt shingle roofs. So it is, I think, the 10th or 11th course in our series of stuff that we've been working on, but brought him as the guy who's really, really good at this stuff. Me and Matt Mulholland and, some other people are pretty good at it. But we didn't want to just have this course be pretty good. We wanted to get the best of the best, get the Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant, of roofing code down here. And so we're about halfway through shooting it right now, and it's been going really good. We're getting down into the nitty gritty details. I've learned some stuff already, and I know there's more that I'm going to learn as somebody that already knows this stuff pretty well. So we're just trying to tackle every facet that we can of this topic, and we'll continue tackling more and more topics. Get broader in roofing as well.
Yeah. Before we get into Mike's expertise and his background in this industry, like why are you doing this? Is this like a hobby? Is this something somebody can sign up for? Is this to educate homeowners, insurance companies, the contractor? What's the deal behind all of this?
Yeah, so Building Experts Institute is a membership based subscription training. It is a business. It's not just a hobby for us. It's what I spend a lot of my time on these days. Me, John Tillman, and Matt Mulholland are all partners in that business. But really, it was just me looking at the industry and seeing the problems and the inefficiencies and what's out there right now and wanting to solve it. So, I saw from when I first started in roofing, the predominant, the leading trainer in the industry was teaching on everything, whether they were necessarily an expert at each of the little things throughout the industry or not. And, to me, it's like, that could be done better. Right. A lot of things have been done with, like, Matt Mulholland was part of the National Claims Institute before, which they were doing really, really good training. But you had to fly there. You had to leave your home. You had to be gone for a few days. You had all these logistical expenses of getting down there to learn this valuable information. And so it just wasn't very accessible for the masses. You've got other online video type stuff. A lot of it's more focused on sales. We're not touching sales or management or any of that sort of stuff. We really wanted to tackle the technical aspects of roofing and claims, and really we'll get in, broader as well. But we wanted to tackle that stuff that is so valuable and so important for people to understand and be able to do well to help them succeed in their careers. So the idea, even with the other virtual trainings that I've seen, it's usually not very well produced. It's like, oh yeah, I shot this thing on my cell phone in 5 minutes. That is why we have John Tillman, who used to be my employee at Restoration Referral System. And I discovered he was just an absolute master at producing really high quality video and audio. So we do have a boom mic here. Mike's got a really nice lav underneath his shirt here as well. So the audio is going to be crisp. If you have to listen to this guy talk about code for hours, it at least needs to be good, crisp audio, right? We take into consideration the lighting. We, have multiple camera angles. It just to make that viewing experience as good as it possibly can. And then when we go in and produce the course, it's not just, hey, here's a video, but here's all the documents that go with it. Here's an explanation that goes with it. Here's diagrams that we've produced to make it crystal clear, all these things that we're teaching. So rather than just trying to say, hey, let's teach everything, let's knock it out here, this week. We're going to go really, really deep. It's like taking a college course on each one of these little niche things. But once you've gone through it, which you can do in the comfort of your own home, you can, enjoy the experience while you're doing it. You are going to be able to operate at a level that 99% of your competitors can't touch. So I want to make that, I know not everybody really cares about educating themselves and improving themselves and all that sort of stuff. And those people can keep doing what they're doing. But for the people that want the information, that want to succeed, I want to do my part to bring the most value, the best experts, the best information possible.
No, that's good. I like how you summed it up there at the end. For those, first and foremost, you saw a gap that was in our industry for thorough educational purposes of learning, about, I'm assuming, how a roof is built, the elements, outside elements, the effects that has on a roof, to be able to educate the contractor, because I'm a firm believer also in like product knowledge, period, right? Like, I don't think you can sell something adequately unless you actually know what the product is. I've always found that, like, the impressive, salesperson, for lack of better terms, has always been those that came from like the production side of things, that were very educated on how a roof or structure has been built, in order to go in and educate the homeowner. So the more education, the better. And like you said, those that don't want to level up that side of the game, to educate themselves on the effects of weather, outside elements, and things like that, I think is huge, especially for our industry right now, because I think a lot of people get in our industry, and this is, very arguably topic here, arguable topic here, is like, most of us get in the industry, 80% of us go out of business within the first, 4 years, because they think, okay, a storm comes rolling through, I'm going to go out, I'm going to knock a bunch of doors, but I don't know the first thing about exactament. I don't know the second thing about, the difference between a blister and a hail impact. And these things are very important, and especially it's giving a lot of us contractors a bad name that might actually know a little bit about, how a roofing system is built, what storm impact can have on a roof, and be able to speak intelligently to a homeowner, but more importantly to the insurance company. And that's where we get a bad name, because there's so many people out there that are trying to cause vandalism, kind of like we were joking about earlier, and don't know the difference between a blister or a hail impact, or was it an installation issue? Was it high nailed? Is it actually wind damage, or was it manufacturer defect? Was it hail impact, or was it installation? Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, if they don't even know how to build the thing, so how do they know the difference between the three of them?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the stuff that we've gotten into, hail damage identification, wind damage identification, that I've learned a ton going through those courses. And I've inspected and built millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of roofs, and didn't know this stuff. And every day we talk to contractors and public adjusters and insurance adjusters that have been taught bad information. Right. And so it's not only just the ignorance that we're combating, of just like, I don't know, I just started this job last week, but also the people that are going out and saying, look at this is hail damage, and it's not. Right. Or conversely, they're going, no, that's anything but hail damage. Well, look at the science behind it. Look at the facts behind it. Like, this is a solvable problem if you'll take the time to look at all the issues with it. We do have an installation course that goes through piece by piece by piece. And I think with this code and understanding building code piece of it, even if you've used building code often, there's going to be gaps that are now filled, that you start to better understand how the code works and where to go for the answers, and what the niche things are that are going to be relevant in whatever situation you're running into. We were just talking about crickets and different sizes of that. And, there's just so many different situations that you'll find yourself into when you get out in the wide world of roofing, that you need to have the foundation of that knowledge there, but also understand how to find the information that you need, that maybe the first time in your whole life and in a long career that you've needed that specific information.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Mike. We'll give you an opportunity here in a second, but I just wanted to clarify something quick, that it's okay to get in the roofing industry even if you don't have a background within the roofing industry. But what's cool about what you're saying is twofold here. One, for those that may not have that much of a background in the roofing industry, and two, you had mentioned it earlier, for somebody like me who's been in it for 30 years, I'm sure there's a lot of good content in there of things that's either a reminder or something that I didn't know about. Like let's talk about a cricket for a minute. You said about a cricket. Well, GAF requires any chimney over 24 inches requires a cricket on the backside of it. Like, a lot of people probably don't even know that. And I'm sure most shingle manufacturers or codes may recommend a cricket on the backside of a chimney over 24 or 16 inches. So I just wanted to make that point there before we went any further. But Mike, I'm sure you got a lot to add to what Matt was saying. And why don't you just kind of go from there, and then maybe lead that into like why you're the man, you're the MJ, the MJ of the roofing industry here.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the things I really have appreciated about seeing the classes that are currently in BEI, and that is they're much more timeless. We have a lot of trends and a lot of fads that go through the roofing industry, and a lot of those are fueled by social media and Facebook, because there's a lot of good information that you get. But what you can start doing is you're getting the right answers, but you don't know the process and you don't really understand why it's important. One of the things that, again, and I appreciate Roofle for giving me the ability to do this trip, because I'm taking vacation time, taking time away when we are crazy, stupid busy. We've got new updates coming out. Currently we're we can get to that a little bit later, but like, this is a time where I felt this was the right time, because we've been talking about this for almost a year. But what we're seeing, and very specifically, just to kind of give you a picture of what this is like and why this is so important, that I'm like, we need to do this now. I don't need any more time away. I don't need to take time off at Roofle, but this is really important because the trends that have been working over the past few years are no longer working in the same way. So for example, like a do not mix letter from a manufacturer, like, it's been a trend or a fad that it's been working. And then all of a sudden now we're like, well, it's not working in the same way. And so what we're doing is we're taking a step back and saying, well, what gave a do not mix letter authority in the first place? Well, it's where people have taken that and attributed it immediately to 903.1, 904.1, 905.1, where code specifically takes the local code official out of that final seat to authority and puts manufacturers in there. So now whatever the manufacturer says goes. And yet what people were tending to do, because we were allowed to do it, was take it to 904.2, which is very different, which is a compatibility issue. Now, nobody's explaining all of this stuff on social media. So we're saying, okay, so we've got these letters that used to be written, and now manufacturers are stepping back and going, well, let's put it back in the context in which they were originally written. And that's sticking it back into more of an aesthetics issue, not a compatibility issue. And all of a sudden, contractors, especially restoration contractors, feel like they're getting hit with a brick wall and being railroaded by their manufacturer. And I'm here to say that's not true at all. I've been teaching about codes for almost 15 years, and I have not used a single do not mix letter, because I've never categorized it in the compatibility of 904.2. Not that you can't, it's just that now that you're hitting a wall, we're trying to explain why. And that's why I like what BEI is doing in laying the groundwork of really truly understanding the trade, understanding roofing, understanding the code and manufacturer specifications, and being able to put them in the right categories to get back to where they're effective again. And bringing some integrity. I know we've been joking about manufacturing damage and all that kind of stuff. I mean, this is all joke. We're really trying to bring integrity back and bring some timeless content back. Not as much trendy, more solid base in which to build in future as companies are growing and getting into this industry as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, especially where technology is and cameras and stuff like that. So you guys will be able to capture a lot of great content. So why don't you explain for us that don't know what like 903.1 is, or 904.2 is, or the do not mix letter? Like, what are you talking about? Because now you're talking Chinese to me.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm going to tell you, go on BEI and become a subscriber because it's not expensive. You'll get access to a lot of great training. But really what we're talking about is the very breadth that is a roofing contractor. What are the two things that really make a contractor to the base core of their beings? It's having a good contract with their customer, their homeowner, and understanding building code and what is required of them to do. And again, we're saying do D- work because it's minimum code. If you're not doing these things, you are failing to do your job correctly. So now there's some complexities to it, but you'll find it's probably simpler than it seems. I'm throwing numbers out there because I've been doing this for a long time, but we're really talking about the 9th chapter of code, which is about roof assemblies. You'll get into the 800s for a couple of things. You'll get into the 500s for a couple of things. And then we're going to do a long session on the 100 levels, which is the administration and enforcement of code. But again, there are some complexities to this that we're trying to make simple. And that's really what the goal is here, is to take big ideas, make it simple so that you can build them back into complexities again.
Right. And you're talking the IRC, right? The International Residential Code book that any of us could get, but don't take the time to actually read it. You guys are breaking it out.
Yeah.
Right. And putting it in a very tangible format, legible in layman's terms, I hope, for a guy like me would need it to be in. Not to dog myself, but sometimes I don't have the bandwidth to sit there and go through it, or to expect my sales manager or my sales team. So you guys, it sounds like you guys are like breaking this down along with like audio and video content for us to be able to watch, listen, and learn from the greatest in our industry right now. It's pretty awesome.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fascinating. And Mike, like, let's plug a little bit. Like, let's hear like why do you even know this stuff? Like, where did you find the time, or why did you have to go through the IRC as much or as thorough as you have?
Yeah, this has been kind of a labor of love for a lot of my life. I started in the roofing industry in 1992 as an installer, hand nailing 3-tab shingles. Did that for about 18 years. I go through a little bit of that on the training itself, because there are times when liability is increased with every company owner. There are times that you will be sued. You're going to find yourself in court, and you're going to have to defend the installation processes that you have. We want to make sure to empower you in those. And so by the time I started with GAF as a manufacturer rep in 2010, I had already been a contractor, primarily an installer, for 18 years. So it gave me a little bit of different picture in what I brought then to the manufacturing sales division of GAF, and then continue to do some of these trainings and empowering contractors, not just to do storm restoration, but doing enhanced warranties. Because in my perspective, even these enhanced warranties that seem like it's above and beyond, and you have to do all this complex stuff, to me, all you're doing is being code compliant on every single roof that you do, which is harder than it sounds. And so my passion to this was actually from the manufacturing end, is helping contractors to be successful, understanding code and compliance, and limiting the liability of their own companies. And then moving over to Roofle as well, I continue to try to bring value to customers. And I know it seems a little bit of a shift with Roofle, but at the same time, we're seeing the evolution of the industry again, and I'm getting to be a part of the technology revolution and evolution of the roofing industry as well. But I haven't lost my roots. And so it's kind of adding more and more pieces to what has been just a phenomenal fun that I'm having within my career.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I knew that I knew that portion of your life, going back to, the days that you were hand nailing, 3-tab shingles and stuff like that. And you probably have mentioned it on this show, but if there's any new listeners out there, I want them to really know who like Mike Goldenstein is, the years that he spent at GAF, and then the years that he spent, I believe, was your father's roofing company.
Yeah.
Right?
uncle that had a roofing.
Yeah,
company.
your uncle's roofing company. So you're from the industry. You just weren't a pencil pusher that decided one day I was going to pick up the IRC code book,
Right. Yeah.
and just start nerding out on it and pointing out how we're doing it all wrong here. It's like you actually have the authority in our space right now. And honestly, Matt, you couldn't have chosen, and it's giving me goosebumps right now. And when I said earlier, like, and if I didn't mention, I'm going to say it now, you guys, and especially with Mulholland, you guys are probably like some of my favorite people in our industry because of the caring. And I know this is all from a place of love. And Matt, you said it earlier. It's like, I saw a big gap, and I know Matthew feels the same exact way. As his approach is more, of a comedic, angle on it, kind of like yours, Goldenstein. Like you have fun with what you guys are doing, and it's kind of like the hail cannon itself came out of just having fun. But now it's like how relevant it is to actually show the impact from hail, literally, and things like that. But it comes from a place of love and fun. You guys are having fun doing this, and I love it. I love watching you guys. At any event that I've ever been at, you guys are out there just killing it between Roofle and your attitude, and then you guys, over at the BEI Institute has just been, I loved when we got to go down there and visit where Matthew used to work, was the Claims Institute, I think, or whatever the heck it was called. That, I mean, for him to call himself the dean, like, I just thought, like, he's just such a cool dude with such an old soul, but so gosh darn smart.
Yeah.
And thank God for you, and thank God for Matt, and thank God for Mike, for you guys coming into our space, or have been here in our space, because you guys really truly are making this a better place than it was, where I think we've all originally found it. So thank you, and kudos to you guys for being who you are, first and foremost, but out of the care and love for our industry, you guys are putting this content out there, and I'm dying to see it. Like, I can't wait to see, because I know you guys are going to have fun doing it, and I can only imagine it's not going to be some boring content that we all have to watch, but it's like more so an enjoyment and want to watch this thing. So kudos to you. So okay. So when's this coming out? Like, when are you guys going to have at least what you're working on today, or is there something that we could go and sign up for now? Both.
Yeah. So the way that it works, it's a monthly membership. It's $109 a month per user. You can stop and start at any time that you want to. You save about 2 months worth if you sign up for a whole year. We definitely appreciate when people do that, but however you want to engage with it. So just like having a Netflix subscription, you're paying for it monthly. You get access to everything that's on the platform already. So there are, I think, 9 courses that have already come out. And again, those are really, really in-depth, like taking college courses. So probably take you 9 months to get through all that information. But it's also a resource that you can tap back into anytime that you need it. Hey, I forgot this thing. Unlike going to one of the hotel conference trainings where it's like, all right, I got this great nugget, and then, like, if I don't hold on to it in my brain, it is gone, right? You can always go back to it. I actually did a live this morning talking about this. When we finish this up, we're going to have 3 courses basically in the can right now. So just a couple of weeks ago, we shot a repairability assessment course with Chad Williams, who's a forensic engineer, and John Senek came out and demonstrated those things in the field. That is going to be our next course out, and that should be right at the beginning of June. So our goal is to release a new course once a month. We haven't been meeting that goal because we've been so stringent about making sure that the quality is there. Like, I don't want to release a course and go, oh yeah, half-ass it and have it, have it out on time. So they are going about every month and a half to 2 months right now. Our goal is to be once a month. So beginning of June, that course will be coming out. This is the next course that'll be coming out, is our Understanding Building Code for Asphalt Shingle Roofs. Following that is our documentation course that Matt Mulholland teaches. And we've already recorded that one, but it's kind of at the end of the queue. When we get done with those 3 courses, which will be coming out over the next few months, we will have our suite of asphalt shingle roof courses complete. And when that happens, we are going to essentially be able to set up certifications. So, it used to be Hague that you would go through and, get their certification on inspecting asphalt shingle roofs. A lot of people have been kind of less than impressed with Hague's stance on things over the years. So we are looking to make this the new standard in our industry for being able to prove I really understand what I'm doing. I've taken the tests. I know this stuff backwards and forward. I know all the different pieces and how they work together. And I think that's something that to me will mean something. And for us to be able to establish that standard and continue to train more people to really, as the industry grows in their knowledge, that's just going to raise the tide for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike, you had mentioned earlier something about trends and stuff and the shift that's happening in our roofing space right now, not just with technology, but like and I'm assuming you mean trends when you mentioned that was more so like the shift in like how insurance companies are responding to certain things right now. So why is what you're doing right now, Matt, and either one of you can answer this question, why is this more important now than it ever has been?
So I think the barrier to entry to the roofing industry has been very low, and the opportunity is very high. And those are great things, and it's one of the reasons why I'm proud to be part of this industry and watching it evolve many times over the course of the last 30 some years. But what's happening is it's almost gotten imbalanced a little bit, and then with the state of the economy, escalating prices. Certainly there's so many different moving targets that are happening right now all at once. And you've got introduction to private equity money. You've got all these roll-ups. Companies are getting bigger. Insurance companies are feeling the pinch of, these escalating prices that, we're seeing even they're pulling out at certain states, depending on the laws. Like there's just so many things that are happening. And one of the things I'm hoping that we're able to accomplish is kind of dull down some of the noise, bring it back to the basics of things that are not going to change. But there's a lot of things that are, again, that with that barrier entry so low, there's been a lot of easy buttons along the way over the last 15 years. Like you can get in, you can start the industry, you can not know really much about roofing and be very, very successful at it. And those days may be coming to an end, or at least decreasing significantly. So we're going backwards a step and helping those to really firm out that foundation and really understanding roofing, actually becoming a roofer, not just an insurance restoration specialist or a salesperson, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Or, a business owner. It's like actually become a roofer. Matt, what's your take on that? Why is this more important now than ever?
Yeah, I think the insurance, approvals, claims are getting harder, right? And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One of those is you have overreaches from both sides, right? You have contractors that are wanting to get paid unreasonably. They're wanting to get roofs approved that don't have legitimate damage, right? Like there's those problems. And then on the other side, you have insurance companies that are having policies that are more like, hey, we're going to deny everything and we're only going to pay the claims where they really prove it, right? Like where they come back to us, they come back around. And so what we found as best practices, and really everything boils down to, we are going to do the right thing. And we should be able to, quote unquote, win if we're doing the right thing. And so, I know there's been all sorts of different things where it's like, hey, squeeze this money out of the insurance carrier or whatever. Here, I'm going to show you just how to, get, milk every penny of them, out of a claim or whatever. And I think that is not a healthy way to come to the table. I think if you can go, hey, you know what, I'm going to actually understand what policies actually cover, and you don't have to commit UPPA violations or anything, but I can understand what coverage actually exists here. I can understand what isn't hail damage. I can understand how to inspect that and prove that loss and document all that and be able to provide the insurance company the information where they go, it's very clear what happened here. And based on our policy, we do owe for that. And have the training in Xactimate, have the training in how to install these things and how the building code interacts with all that so that you can write an accurate estimate. And when you put all that together, it makes it a lot easier for both of the parties to efficiently and accurately, arrive at, an estimate or a scope. So I think if you can do that stuff consistently, now you have a really solid business that is not just going to be up and down based on what adjuster decided to do. It's not going to be up and down based on, what storms are happening, all that sort of stuff, so it's not just based on insurance restoration, or retail or what you like. It's just, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to understand this whole picture inside and out so that we can navigate it oftentimes better than that insurance adjuster or our competing roofing companies or competing public adjusters. We do, probably close to half of our students are public adjusters. And then, the other half roofing contractors and a couple of attorneys sprinkled in. But I think it's just getting tougher and tougher. And so everybody's struggling. The 80% of guys are struggling, and the 20% of guys are just skating by because they've got that elite knowledge.
And to put that in a picture form again, so my wife's a math teacher, and one of the hard parts is when she has a student that gives the right answer but doesn't show their work. We've created this environment inside the roofing industry where we've got a lot of roofers that know the right answer, but they can't show their work. And so when Matt talks about claims are getting tougher, a lot of that, in my estimation, is because we have created this new kind of roofer that knows the right answer. And we're not going to change the right answer necessarily, but we're doing a better job of showing them how, or teaching them how to show their work. So when you come with a do not mix letter or an installation, guidelines, or, what you were talking about with a chimney cricket, like how do you properly document it from start to finish, which is basically from starting from code, building your manufacturer documents in there, and then coming up with the right answer, because now you've shown your work. And like Matt was just saying, that's easy to some people and impossible for others. And so the gap that we're trying to fill right now is helping contractors show their work in all of the work that they do, whether it's restoration or retail.
Wow. Okay. So I was going to bring up retail here in a little bit, but okay. So Matt, you were talking about all of these things that I'm assuming that are in these courses, the curriculum. If I signed up for BEI right now, I would learn how to write, or read an Xactimate estimate from the insurance company, and all of those things that you mentioned earlier are in your courses.
Yeah. So you can actually get level 3 certified. Which is extremely rare in the industry, but so it'll take you from the very most basic fundamentals of Xactimate all the way through to expert. So we've got one of, I think there's 50 something top tier Xactimate trainers in the world teaches those courses that are in BEI.
That's fantastic. And Mike, I like what you said earlier. It's like a lot of people got the right answers, but they can't show where it came from.
Yeah.
They don't have the proper documentation. And I think I can spiel anything by listening to you long enough, but I couldn't tell you where I got it from. And I think that's where you got to know the rules in order to play the game, right? Not that it's a game that we're playing with the insurance company, but we as contractors really have to know our stuff. We have to know where to find it in the IRC or whatever code that we're trying to enforce against or upon the insurance company or shingle manufacturer specification. Because I know down south, we struggle sometimes with drip edge. Okay, yep. Drip edge is a big deal. It's not a county code. It's not required. But like me personally, I just couldn't sleep at night if we're not putting drip edge on a house, let alone being a master elite contractor, GAF, if they found out that I wasn't putting drip edge on a house, they'd stick their foot right up my ass. So it's like, how and where do I find this information? It sounds like you guys have come up with this, but I think that's where the struggle is, or it wasn't easy enough for me to have access to it, right? Because I'm not going to leaf through a book that's this thick, or even the GAF field guide, right? That it sometimes could be, you know, a little time consuming too, to find out, you know, where it states, you know, use drip edge, how or when. There you go. Right. That's the Bible. To me,
We've got all of them. So
yeah. Right. So that to me is, but it sounds like you guys are collectively putting it all on one website, for lack of better terms, or portal that we could essentially sign up for. And I'm assuming it's probably titled Exactament Writing, or, you know, so all I'd have to do is click on that, sit there for 2 hours. I'm sure there's videos. I'm sure is there testing in it, like where I got to do a test?
So not right now, and the testing is not going to be required. But when we finish kind of our suite of courses,
Yeah.
those tests are going to be turned on in there to allow people to go through and pass those tests and get, you know, kind of pass each of those modules.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, pass kind of a master class to our master test to have that certification. Because if it's just, hey, I know that you clicked and watched the video, I don't know that you learned any of that information. We want that certification to actually mean something as well.
Yeah, you know, because what I think is very fascinating and very cool, and where my head goes, is how can I get my team trained up super quick, right? I need everybody educated and stuff like that. So one thing that we do is everybody's got to take the field guide test. We also get them VSI certified. But I'm thinking to myself already, like, if we sign up for this, I obviously want my team to go through your curriculum, but how am I going to know that they're doing it? Right? Is it sticking? Is it being retained? But more importantly, I feel like if there was a test in there, and I'm sure you guys have already thought this, I'm probably late to the game here, but I'm thinking to myself, how, as a business owner or a manager or director, how I would use this to our advantage to maybe, like, as a new hire comes on, like, hey, you got to sit down and take this 9-hour course. But in your first week, you only have to do ABC. Second week, you know, CDE, you know, so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
that, I think, to me, myself personally, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm sure I see Lauren and a couple of our other teammates on there are probably, and Ben, who's actually a sales manager, is probably wondering why we haven't signed up for this yet. Because, you know, especially when it comes to Xactimate, I mean, it's bad enough to teach somebody our tech stack, right? But then we got to throw something else in the mix here that doesn't even communicate, you know, with our CRM, right? That we have to learn how to do, which isn't easy. It's not an easy thing to do. And very, very, very seldom or very little of us, at least on our team, actually know how to use Xactimate.
Mm-hmm.
Or read one when we get a scope of work from the insurance company. A lot of people don't even know how to read it. They don't even know what they're looking at. They don't know the difference between RCB and ACB, you know, depreciation, or a lot of people, not the deposit, but the deductibles, right? Like, it's sad, but it's true. But that's because they didn't come from that. But I think this is great. I'm really trying to plug it right now, if you haven't noticed. And it's like, I definitely, before we get off here quick, and before I forget, like, how do we sign up? Is there a website that Vic can put in comments here real quick?
Yeah. Buildingexperts.institute is the website for it. And I just wanted to kind of mention one thing, because I appreciate all the nice things that you said. And, you know, just every time I talk to you, it's, you know, so encouraging, knowing, you know, kind of your mindset in the industry and the way you're going about things. I think, you know, I kind of told you a lot of the problems, the gaps we're trying to fill with BEI. You know, this was something coming together with Matt Mulholland and John, and then all the trainers that we're now getting to work with as well, that I think the difference from where we're coming about it is, it's not a cash grab. Yes, we do charge for what we're doing. We're spending thousands of dollars to produce, you know, really many thousands of dollars to produce every one of these courses or whatever. We've got costs. We are making money with it, but it's not a cash grab. That's not our intent. There's a bunch of different ways that we could go make money. But we looked at it and said, you know what? I see over and over and over again, salespeople and sales managers and installers and company owners or whatever are struggling, and they really don't need to be, right? Like these solutions, like it's just a difference of a little bit of information or whatever. And so, you know, our heart in this is, I want to make it really accessible for people to get the right information so that they can succeed. If they're going to go do the hard work, let's sharpen the axe so that they can be really effective at doing their hard work, right? And they can get more for what they're doing. And so, like I said, it's not a let's squeeze the carrier for as much money as possible. It's let's do the right thing. Let's know this thing so well that we make it look easy, right? You know, and so it's been great as we've continued to grow and more people are knowing about it. But then the other piece of it is just, you know, we're not going to stop when we get done with this first kind of suite of courses. Your learning is never done, right? And so, yes, it does serve us that you keep subscribing because you want the next course that's coming out. But it serves you to consistently be adding things to your arsenal that just make you more and more of an expert by learning from the Michael Jordan of every little niche thing in our industry.
Absolutely. No. And I think, you know, I love what you said. And I don't think anybody thinks that this is a cash grab. Not one time it did that cross my mind. You saw there was a gap that needed to be filled. It takes money to do what you're doing. The lighting, the microphone, the boom mic, the cameras, all those things, and bringing people in that they're not doing this. Like you guys have full-time jobs. You know what I mean? Like you have other things that you could be doing, but before your passion for the industry and wanting to make it a better place than it was when we first found it, like this is what's required. And with any other business, this might be just like a side job and a passion for you and for the love of the industry. But what happens is in any good business, they seem to find a pain point. You're solving a problem right now for us contractors. And I'm including myself in this because if I would have had this 10 years ago, it would have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars, not just due to lost revenue, but from jobs that I may not have gotten because I wasn't able to speak intelligently enough. I didn't know the rules to the game, with jobs that we were awarded, but we lost money on because we didn't know how to read an exactament. We didn't know the difference between a ball peen hammer mark on a roof or a hail bruise, right? Like these are just all things that I think that where we're going, and we've all talked about this, like where our industry is going right now is I think we need to take a step back, get back to the basics, like Mike said, and just re-educate everybody. And even within businesses, sometimes we need to do that. Sometimes we need to have that correction year or that where we all just need to be retrained on the new tech stack that we are, or whatever it is. But this sounds like, and especially where we're at right now with the current state of the economy, we're in an election year, we have inflation, interest rates are up, gas prices up. I mean, everything, anyone, and we're in 2 wars right now, right? So any one of those 5 things that we're experiencing right now can affect an economy, right? And if you're not good at what you're doing, you're not going to stay relevant. And what you're providing is a tool for us contractors that have been in the game for 30 years or those that have been in it for 3 years, right? It sounds like this is for all of us. This is a pain point and a sensitive sometimes conversation to have. Sometimes it's that if we don't know what we don't know, right? And our egos won't allow us to sign up for things like this or read the book because my attention span won't allow me to read the book or whatever the case might be, right? Because I've suffered from everything that I've touched on so far. Yeah. You know, I don't have the right people around me, but it sounds like you guys are creating this thing, this curriculum, this course, these and soon to be tested at some point in time. That when somebody, if they're considering getting into the industry, they should have it. If you've been in the industry for 3 years, you should have it. If you've been in the industry for 30 years, and it sounds like the more that you guys learn, right? Because I've learned more from teaching things than I have anything else, right? So now you're teaching this. So as you guys learn and codes change or the insurance laws change, it sounds like this thing is going to continue to keep morphing. As you guys grow, this thing's going to continue to keep growing because it sounds to me like you've been doing it for a minute, but I feel like you feel the way that I do. Like we're just getting started. Like we're just now starting to scratch the surface. So kudos. for you. So don't feel like anyone thinks like this is a cash grab, bro. This is something we needed for 25 years.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem. Before we get off here, is there something that you guys want to leave our guest with?
Yeah. First and foremost, if you haven't met Matt Danskin, you know that he's pretty short. So you notice we're kind of the same. He's been sitting this whole time. Can you stand up? This is so you know. So people who think I'm really big, I suddenly grew. No, I'm not. So I appreciate Matt sitting here while I stand next to him. So I'll make this. But no, yeah, everything you said, I do appreciate the time to come on and kind of explain what this is. I do want to give one thing based on our explanation too. I think what you're going to find within BEI is that the information is very fair to the point that some people are probably not going to like it on the contractor side of things, because we are very fair on how it is. So we hope that this is going to be accessible if you're an independent agent, a public adjuster, if you're an engineer, if you are a manufacturer rep, like you are going to find this information to be good, solid, fair, and integrity-laden material that is accessible to anybody. The other thing I want to make sure you know, and this is something for me, that even as a manufacturer rep, I refuse to go to the Xactimate side of things. I never got my certification. I don't want to look at Xactimate estimate. To me, that doesn't have anything to do with code compliance or manufacturer specs. And so I actually insulated to protect my own time. And even to that level of expertise, I have left that very specifically in my life to zero. So if you're watching this and saying, oh man, I gotta get all my guys to go through all of these trainings, do what you feel you want to do and how you want to equip your company, but you don't have to give all the information to all the people. There's going to be different classes that you're going to want different people in your company to attend, but they don't have to do all of them. If there's a segment of this that you just don't have the capacity or the time or the effort or the desire to go through, I would encourage you not to go through it. Like, I don't know Xactimate. I don't, and I'm not going to learn it anytime soon. It's one of those things that I want to be judicious about how I spend my time. So just wanted to throw that out as well.
No, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up, because somebody listening might have thought like, wow, that's going to be a lot to digest, even though they're trying to turn it into layman's terms or cut it down. But that's a great point, because there are certain things, like we might need production guys to know certain things. They don't need to know how to write an Xactimate. Right. But our sales manager might, our operations manager might, or our adjuster might, you know, like somebody like that. But the one thing that I meant to mention earlier, Matt, that I think it's pretty cool that you said 50% of your users right now are adjusters. So just to give it one last plug before we get off here, it goes to show you how relevant the information is that you're putting in your curriculum right now. If adjusters are actually signing up for this, that in itself is pretty impressive, because they want to know what you guys know.
Well, those are mostly public adjusters.
Okay, public adjusters.
On their side, there are a couple of independent adjusters there, but you touched on one thing. Just, you know, I wanted to mention at the end here is just like the pride of like, I already know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I intentionally have kind of structured our business model to address that. So it is a monthly deal. Like, you don't have to sign up for a year. You don't have to give us a big upfront cost or whatever. Just try it for a month. Right. And I also didn't want to go, hey, let's do these courses a la carte, where it's like, I'm interested in this one, I'm going to buy it, but I'm not going to pay the money for that other one. I want you to have everything. So maybe there's one course that you're like, that one course is worth the $1,090 a year by itself. Go buy it because of that one. But now that you're in here, everything else is included. Go tap into that other stuff. And, you know, maybe you don't need to go through all of Xactimate if you want to get certified or whatever. But I think people will find that thing that they thought that they already knew. I already know that. I already know code really, really well. I would say I'm a 1%er for knowing code. Would you say from our conversations? Yeah. I'm not a 0.0001%er. Right. You know, and so I've learned stuff as we've recorded this course. Same thing with every aspect of this. Even if you've been doing this at that 1%er level, there's still things that you can learn, still things that are going to, and when you get closer to that end of the bell curve, that's where things get really exciting. That's where things start getting, you become more successful.
No, for sure. No, and I like that you brought that back up and right here at the end, because that's the thing too, is just keeping an open mind, right? As I can easily say that I've been in the industry for 30 years, but if it's the same exact thing that I've done for 30 years, doesn't necessarily give me 30 years of experience. It gives me year one experience, because I continued for the next 29 years of doing the same exact thing over and over and over. So if I'm not willing to continue to keep educating myself, and besides the fact, there's probably so many things that I forgot about that I need to probably refresh myself. Let's look at it. If my ego is too big, maybe I just need to read this thing, or review it, because I may have forgotten something, right? But for me, in the instance that I'm really excited, but you made a mention to this, and I forgot to ask you, this is probably the $1 million question. You said $1,090 a year for this course. Is that accurate? So it's less than $90 a month?
So yeah, it's $109 a month if you want to just go month to month. If you
Okay.
to subscribe for the entire year, you basically save 2 months worth. So if you want to pay for it up front that way, we do also have team plans. So teams of up to 10 or $459 a month or $45.90 for the year. So you can even save going that route. And then enterprise level above that, where you get a little bit of a discount on the per user price for whatever size team you have.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm grateful. Mike, thank you for, choosing to come on the show today, because this for me has just been an eye opener for me. And I hope somebody else listening out there has gotten something out of this, because I know I did. This is so cool. I didn't realize that there was this much curriculum inside what you guys were trying to do. And I didn't realize that you were continuously, growing this thing and trying to turn it into what it is today. That's fascinating. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out personally. And I'm sure with some of our teammates being on here, they're probably not going to let me walk away without signing something up, whether it's the one user plan or the enterprise plan. I'm sure you're going to be hearing from us soon, but thank you both for coming on the show and carving out some time to get with us. I know you guys are busy, but thank you so much. Hopefully you guys will get something out of this as well. And thank you for everybody for carving out time on your lunch break to tune into this. We appreciate everybody coming on the show. Go ahead, Mike.
I do want to have one more, because this is, again, just to show you how thin I'm getting stretched, but I'm so excited to announce tomorrow, BMP Media, which is the publisher of Roof and Contractor magazine and roofandcontractor.com, they put a lot of time, effort, and money into a homeowner study about how do homeowners make decisions on buying decisions on, especially on large and medium sized purchases, that has a lot of impact on how roofing companies are going to be marketing themselves, and how do their homeowners make these decisions. And once they got those results back, they called us up immediately and said, we need to collaborate with this, because this has a lot of synergy. So we're very, very excited to say that tomorrow, sign up. There's a webinar that's going to be really, really important to our industry about the future of sales and what lead generation is going to look like. How do you interact and engage with your homeowners? There's go to roofingcontractor.com. There's a webinar. Sign up tomorrow. We're very, very excited to be part of this collaboration with Roofing Contractor magazine. And I really appreciate you giving me the chance to plug that as well. Very exciting stuff in the life of Roofle right now.
Yeah. Now, when you say partnering up, is that with BEI, or are you talking to Roofle? Who?
Yeah, I transitioned here, so that's a Roofle specific thing. So I'm kind of juggling a lot of different balls right now. But right now, doing the classes with BEI is one thing. I'm going to be taking a break. We're shutting everything down so that I can be part of this podcast with BNP Media with Roofle specific.
Oh, okay. No, perfect. That's for my clarity. I'm sure somebody else understood where you were at. Sometimes I'm a little slow, but thank you again, because I know you're spread thin, and thank you, Matt, and tell Mahala thanks for nothing. But I still love him to death. I think he's just such a cool dude, with an old soul. But you guys have a great time. Hopefully I see you guys soon. And thank you for everybody for tuning in for episode 231 of Behind the ToolBelt. We will see you guys next week. I believe we have Chris Scoville. We'll be talking about what he's going through and what he has going on at this moment as well. Until then, you guys be safe and be cool.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks.
Thank you.